Hi everybody, welcome. I hope everyone had a great week last week. We are going to see what's in store for us for the upcoming week, what our forecast is. Before I got on here, I kept hearing in my head that song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. So, and it's sunny today where I am. So, which leads me to believe that some of us may be feeling a little bit down, and they want to reaffirm with us, our guides, that things are looking up for us. We're going to pull some chakra wisdom cards and then pull some tarot with it for some expanded messages and see what is going to go on for us. If you are listening to this during this weekend, like the 31st of May-ish time, you should hit this full moon. And this is a pretty powerful full moon. Of course, you can feel the effects a little bit before, a little bit after. I have definitely been feeling it. Do share if you have also been feeling it. Yeah, so here we go. Okay, I think we'll go with 3. So our first message is about destiny. We'll take a look at this one. What's fated to us, right? So if you're following along with tarot, it could be what are like the major arcana cards, right? Our guides are letting us know, yes, there is fate at play. Fated meetings are definitely at play, and that's an impact. However, we also can control the outcome. We can alter things by, again, using our own intuition, using our free will, closing up karmic cycles. What do I mean by that, right? Learning lessons and growing, right? Because everything is about growing. And also, I think perspective, because if you're ascending and you're on the path, then you know it's less and less about where you're ending up and more about like the method that you're using to get there and the actual journey as the process, right? So let's see more about what they want us to know about destiny. Okay, so we got some interesting ones. Oh, they're very chatty today. Okay. In my head, they're very chatty. Okay. First one is first tarot card is Justice. So I think for some of you folk, have you felt like life isn't fair, or the universe is not turning things favorably towards me? And perhaps this has been going on for a while, and you are just hoping and waiting for things to balance out, for things to feel equitable, just to get not to get up from other folks, but just to get like even grounding, is what I hear. And we'll read all the cards to see what the final message is, but that's telling us a little bit about our current state now, just like kind of questioning, like wondering. Or if and it doesn't have to be about like material resources. It could be if you've just had like maybe one bad turn of health after another, or one not so fantastic relationship after the other, or something like that. So, but definitely now's the time where we're wondering about what the universe is trying to tell us with all these wonderful life lessons that keep coming our way that feel like, I'm done with those lessons, thank you, right? And so the next one we got is the Devil, right? And so I think here what they're trying to tell us is who's got the eye on us, right? If you're Italian like me, the Malocchia, who's throwing the shade at you, and who doesn't wish you well, or who's like threatened by your success, and is that impacting your fated outcome? It could be, right? Especially if we feel like we can't get out from underneath that, or if we feel like we're stuck, or if it's major themes at play too, not just us, but like societal, right? Like the, those kinds of heavy concepts are things that you're probably thinking about, right? Like, I'm just trying to get ahead. I'm just trying to, take care of myself and my family, and it feels like the deck is stacked against me. That's kind of the energy that I'm sensing right now. A little bit of barrier, okay, in that regard. Now we have our next cup is the Eight of Wands. And again, what they're trying to tell us here, yes, things might be fated coming your way, right? Like you can't control everything, right? You can't control the storm. But they really want you to know you can control your reaction. That doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge that there's a lot of stuff coming at you. And I think for some people, especially like if you're working in toxic work environments or toxic structures, it feels like it's coming from multiple ends, right? Yes, but you know that now. You're at a place where you've grown. You know that. You even recognize it and you see it. But you're still smiling. You're still smiling because you know that this is just a moment. It's not a permanent thing. It's just a moment. And also learning to find ways to have joy, because the worst thing is that there's people throwing shade your way, right? We had this devil card before, but also they're stealing your joy, right? And that's very hard to do, especially if we're in a deep cycle or heavy emotions like financial despair or feeling distraught. It's hard to tap into those emotions of joy, of happiness, of laughter when we can't see the sun. That would make sense because, like I told you, I heard that sun will come out tomorrow song in my head before I jumped up here. Of course, that doesn't mean we've got the Five of Cups here. There's a lot of worry, right? A lot of stress and worry, which makes sense because, again, deeper things like thinking about equitability, financial outcomes, like who's controlling the wealth in the world, all those things. And you may have not thought about that so much like in the past, but for whoever's listening, you've grown and now you're seeing like, you know what? Like, was I always caught up in a structure and I just didn't know it? Yes, but sometimes it takes a while before we get to the place where we see it, right? And then our final message with this destiny and fated meetings and encounters and things like that is still like a lot of deep, this is the Nine of Swords here, a lot of deep thought, a lot of like, things that you're ruminating over, things that are keeping you up at night. So not only keeping, like stealing some of your joy, but also like just stealing some of your rest. Don't forget that, not when you're approaching things and you're not restful, that's really difficult too. Not only does it impact, right, the physical body, but definitely the mental body and the decision-making process. So not getting deep rest, not in a place where you feel you're not feeling, again, you're not feeling balanced, right? It's a message of not feeling like equal, not right yet, but that doesn't mean that that's not coming forward. And that makes sense based upon the next message that we got, which is the Faith card. Faith. Faith is an interesting thing because how often when things are going our way, we're like, this is so great. Like things are wondrous. And when things are going bad, and if it's going bad for a while, it feels like a cycle. We're like, you know what? Are those guides that I work with, the universe, the divine, whatever you use that resonates with you, are they listening? Do they hear my pleas? They do. And we'll pull cards on it, but don't forget that it's just the timing. And it's hard because, we want to control stuff. We do. We want to control the timing of things. We want to, move at our speed and pace. And that's just not what always happens. So, and then for some folks, I think that that's the missing component to helping you move forward, right? Especially if you're feeling like you're alone, or like there's a lot of despair, or you're just not sure, or you're kept up at night from stuff, and you're like, how can I get ahead? How can I make it work? And a lot of times faith is the missing little nugget, is the missing piece of things, right? So let's pull some cards on faith and see what they want to tell us. Okay, they're less chatty here. They want you to know that everything that's coming your way is for your growth. It's for your well-being and your growth. It may not feel that way. It may feel like someone's doing you dirty. I totally get it. I've been there many times. But really, they are letting you know that not only has all of this made you stronger, and you're probably towards the completion or the end of the cycle that you're in, and so you've already felt that. You've already felt like, you know what, it's been really hard, but I can see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I can see that this has brought me, resilience, or has brought me to a better place than I was before. So one, remember that some of these things that they're some of these pattern cycles that we're in, and we may wonder, like, is no one hearing me? Like, why am I over and over again? And so for it is a karmic cycle, meaning they're sending you different people, different places, different events, different things to see how you will approach it, to see if you have learned a lesson, again, all for your growth. Right? I know sometimes it feels like, you know what, I'm good with my growth for now, and I'd like to move on to the fun stuff. But again, it's not always happening in this lifetime, right? Now, interesting message next is this Four of Coin. Now, it tells me, so Four of Coin and Four of Pentacles here, telling me that you really are concerned about money and finances and not having enough to provide, and you've been saving. You're someone who's been smart with your money. You've been frugal. You've tried to make ends meet, but you are concerned again about the stability and things like that. And they want to let you know that those things will be happening for you. I hear in the not so distant future. So I don't think it's in the distant future. One card jumped out at us, so we're going to pull that. And yeah, so 2 4 cards in a row. So we have the Four of Cups here. It's an emotional time period where they're really trying to get your attention so that you focus on what is in front of you, and like the things that you already have, the wonderful blessings that you already have, not the ones, pay recognition to those is what they're saying. Acknowledge those things, right? Sometimes it's hard, especially when we're worried about like dark stuff or financial worries or anything like that. Anything that when you start saying like, this seems like it's unfair. Sometimes we hyper focus on that, right? It's natural, right? We're focused on this negative thing, and then it's hard for us to take a moment or two, with gratitude. Again, I do not say that to mean that we ignore all these inequities or other things, but just so we take a moment to notice, like, that was a struggle, but there was some positive in the struggle too. And you acknowledge that for yourself and to your guides too, right? Does that make sense? I hope. And then we're going to pull 2 cards here. And, oh, excellent. Okay. Well, this is intriguing. So, and why they're telling you that is because new sources of abundance are going to come your way. Some of it might be from side hustling, and I hope it's nothing that causes you additional fatigue or anything like that. But what I'm hearing is like just new revenue streams, new opportunities put in your path. So maybe you put out a resume for a job that was like a little bit outside of what you normally do. You might be getting a call back. It could be something like that. Or someone wants to partner with you with work opportunities. It could be something small, it could be something bigger, but definitely the start of something new that's going to be helpful for all of these monetary woes and worries that you've been having. And our final card here is again, it's a money card. Is the Seven of Pentacles here. And we know that we're planning now for our future. So we're in a growth process. We're in a manifestation process. It's something we could do if you're listening to this during the full moon. You could do manifestation work with the full moon, and do some intention setting perhaps too. But this is like you've planted your seeds, you've done your work, and now you're ready for the next phase. Which brings us to our final chakra wisdom card, which is release. And you can see it's somebody kind of like unhappy-ish looking, I'm gonna say. It doesn't look like someone who's filled with joy here. It looks like somebody who's really worried. They're in a graveyard. Release, I immediately hear grief, hard, right? Especially if you're moving through heavy emotions like grief and stuff, that definitely can weigh on you. It can make you, again, inside your mind too much, where you feel stuck, right? If you ever had that feeling, you feel like you're stuck in your own brain. Let's pull some tarot on here too to see what other kinds of things they want us to release, right? I heard worry in my head. Okay. I'm a huge worrier. I don't know if you are too. It's not that easy to let go of worry. If you've been a lifelong worrier, I'm like a professional level worrier. First one is the Page of Wands here, and return to your roots, return to what you know. There was a time in your past where you were happy with just getting started on a project or just learning something new, or maybe you were taking a college class and you felt like excited because you felt like, well, I'm still a novice and I'm growing and this is great. But you probably got a little bit further in life, right, or in your career, where it's like, I'm not a novice anymore, and now I'm missing some of the joy, especially if you've been in a chosen field for a minute, right? Like if you've been in your career for like 10 years plus, and it just feels like, I do the same thing every day, or the little bit of the spark or the joy that you used to have isn't there anymore. They're acknowledging that to you. They're acknowledging that that's something that they hope you'll tap back into, that joy, that spark that you used to have that might have, just kind of lapsed a little bit. Okay, let's see what else they have for us with this release. What else can we be releasing? The struggle, I hear. Now, what does that mean, right? When they're telling us release the struggle, right? Especially since I just told you some of the stuff is faded that's coming in for us, right? What do they mean? Why are they tricking us, these guides? No, I think what their meaning is, we've got the Six of Swords here, is if you've been carrying a lot on you, and you've been doing it all on your own. I know some of you have been, right? I can hear it. Some of you have just been like warriors on your own, and maybe not because you wanted to, but because there was not someone else partnering with you, or your partner ditched you, or whatever. But they want you to get assistance where you can, right? That even if that was the before, where you didn't have relationships, partnerships, people to assist you, has your life changed since then? Are there people in your place that you feel like you connect with, or you could get assistance from, help from, support? It could be something as simple as other kindred spirits, right? Other people who are along this healing journey with you, right? If you're listening here, you're probably on like the healing path, the healing journey with me. And what does that mean? Sometimes, when you're not with your people, right? When you're like people who are not your people, right? Usually you have to wear a little bit of a mask, right? Sometimes you're at work and you have to like, maybe perhaps fake smile, or, the drudgery. It could be. But when you're with your people, or you're doing your heart's work, right? It just naturally, you feel like energized. You feel wonderful. You're like, these are my people. This is so great. Lean into that, tap into that, make that happen. Examples I could give you from my own insight. Like I had friends over for tarot and oracle readings, where we'll just do readings on each other and just have fun. Some friends have been lifelong friends. Some friends are newer friends, but all people who were growing, people who were like, got it, right? Kindred spirits. And like it, what it felt like after all. Now sometimes I get too many people around me. Sometimes it makes me feel extremely tired, extremely anxious at like parks, things like that. I hate. But after all these hours of people left, I felt wonderful. I felt like this is great. And then the other gals who were also here, acknowledge the same thing, because we're with our peeps, right? We're with people who are just offering us kindness, companionship, friendship, no judging, just people affirming your story. Nothing else, just an exchange of like-minded energy. So if you have those people, maybe you don't know them well, invite them for coffee, invite them to do stuff if you can, right? But you don't have to take on everything alone. Also, don't forget always that your guides are there to assist you too, right? Don't forget, trust your intuition, right? Some of you I know are growing with your intuition. You're hearing what you think are messages. Lean into that. Just you go with that. Journal that. Write that down. Those are messages. Maybe you're seeing certain birds or certain spirit animals. Again, certain angel numbers keep coming to you. Lean into those things. Trust yourself, and trust your intuition. Now, our next one with this release, what are we releasing? We see the Magician here. And what are they telling us here? We're full of magic and wonder. If we have felt insecure, or felt like we didn't have the tools to be successful, or felt like we could not trust our own intuition, maybe before we fell for some, I'm trying to think of a nicer word than the one I had in my head. Breadcrumbers. That is nicer than the one that I was going to say. Maybe we feel like, I don't trust myself. I don't see red flags. Give yourself grace, knowing that where you are now with all this growth you've been doing, right? We've had all these wands in our reading telling us that now we are in a place where we know we can trust ourselves. We can trust our intuition. And we know that some of those meetings that we had in the past, maybe they didn't work out well, but they were all for our growth, all bringing us somewhere, all fated meetings, right? Does that make sense? Yes, we have the magic within us. Don't let anybody tell you different. All of us have gifts. All of us are intuitive. All of us have something special about us. And sometimes we believe the nonsense and the BS from other people for whatever reason. But no, you've got the magic within you. Your guides are telling you that. Now we've got here the Judgment card. I think for some people, now remember we're still on release, okay? And for some people, you feel like you are judged, and then that's probably true. Like, especially if you have either had some issues in the past, or you've taken some bad turns along the path, weren't listening to your intuition, maybe weren't honoring yourself for a time. For some people, it's addictions, I hear. For some people, it's just, just not treating yourself well. But they want you to know that you're your own worst critic. This is what they're saying to me. This Judgment card is for you. They want you to stop judging yourself so harshly. It doesn't mean that you're not like growing and you don't have insight into yourself, right? Like that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about when that inner monologue in your head is not kind to you. It is mean. No, I mean, remember, we're putting that out into our aura, right? So we don't need to do that. We can honor ourselves, give ourselves grace, and like I always say, I mean, I've made many mistakes, but I always say, like, I think I did the best that I could with where I was, with my growth, with the information I had at the time that I had. So yes, give yourself grace. Try to be less judgmental towards you. Speak kind words. If you start hearing like your inner monologue is starting to get snarky, shut her down, right? Shut her down. Shut her down. You don't need that. And our final message here is the Chariot. You decide where you're going. And again, that was for the release. You decide what you want to make of the experience. Are you going to let it define you? Are you going to let it define your day if it's something that's not so fantastic? Are you going to pick optimism and joy? Again, it's all about your mindset, which way do you feel has been more helpful for you? Being drowned in worry? Or do you feel like, I'm still worried perhaps about, we had all those Pentacle cards, worried about all that financial stuff and things like that, the world, the environment, all those things. If you're an empath like me and a deep thinker, all those things that you're probably worrying about like me. Yes, but can we still find joy in the day, smiles in the day? I think we can. We might have to look for it. We might have to do a little bit of intentional work there, but that's something we can definitely do. Now, some people have asked me, I usually, when I'm doing these readings, I've got a big smile on my face. It's because I really love doing this. This is something that I really enjoy. It is not the drudgery like sometimes a work job could be. No, it's not that. So I do, when I come on here, I have a smile because I feel like I'm listening to angels in my head talking to me, ascended masters and guides, and it feels magnificent. And I also honor, I feel honored that they choose me to share messages. I don't force any of the messages. We're gonna end off with an empath card, fittingly. And what is that? What do I mean by that, right? You're like, what do you mean? I just feel like I am the conduit to bring about the message that they would like for people to have, and it's whoever's listening, that's who it's meant to be. But I feel like that's my role. So I don't, I don't force anything. So I just, whatever I hear is kind of, it pops in my head from the guides, and I see it in my head, and then I transfer it over to you, because I feel like that is part of my role here. So think about what your role is here and what your gifts your guides have given you. Do you honor those gifts? Do you use those gifts? Are you selling yourself short, right? Think about all that. And some of you, I hear, people have done a number on you. Like you may have had people, you maybe a past partner, or could be even a parent, but you've had people, or teacher, I hear too. It could be if you had a teacher in the day who told you you weren't special, or you weren't good enough, or you weren't whatever it is enough. Again, it taps into that judgment you have towards yourself. So thinking about releasing that also, right? We had that release card. So we are going to end off with our empath message here. And here we're going to pull 2 cards. Okay. And our first message is, listen to the wisdom of your intuition. Okay, which is what I was telling you before. Listen to you, right? Listen to yourself. Your inner voice is the best friend you will ever have. Seek answers from deep within rather than just through your intellect. Honor yourself, honor your wisdom. You know the way. You do. And if you're tired, just try to get some rest if you can. Try to take care of yourself and try to acknowledge that wisdom that is inside of you and let that out. Let that roar, right? Remember we had that magician card? That's you. You're the magician. Yes, some things are fated, but you are a partner in what's going on in life, and you can shape your path. Okay? Our next one. Oh, again, these are fittingly. It's again, like I told you, I don't force it because I just feel like I'm the conduit for what those guides want. They really want us to tap into our intuition, because our next card is tap into your spiritual power. Reach out to a power greater than yourself to help solve a dilemma. Stay open to its guidance in your life. So if you have put out prayers, pleas, things of this nature, here's both of your cards. Here's both of them. Listen for the answer. Sometimes we put out prayers, we put out pleas, we're doing all kinds. For me, I'm doing spells, I'm doing all kinds of stuff, right? I'm in my backyard last night burying old shoes. There's a spell. And it's okay. But that's it, right? We do the thing, right? Maybe we have a prayer list, and then we don't see well, has it been answered? How are we working? Are we manifesting this? Are we moving in the energy of this? If it's abundance, or we have financial worry. So tap into that intuitive power that you definitely have. Awaken it, right? If you're not using crystals, if you're not into the crystals, you can think about crystals. There's certain ones that will help you with your intuition, like your third eye chakra, right? You could wear a crystal bracelet. There's tons of things that you could do, but do take some rest and time to unlock your intuitive powers. Also, I want to leave you with a great new audiobook that I'm listening to, which is called Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I'll pop it up over here. I forget the author. I don't have the audio in front of me. And I think it's a YA book, but it's it's in England. It's got people with British accents, which I love, and it's mystery and intrigue. And I like it. So far, it's really, really good. I have enjoyed it tremendously, and it's going on one of my book lists. So hope you're reading something wonderful. If you're new here, consider subscribing and sharing, and I will see everyone in the midweek. Bye.